Back on the Sports Complex on a Friday afternoon. We're going to get you ready for a busy weekend of sports where Texas doesn't play, but many other teams do, and the Cowboys don't play this weekend, but they play on Monday. We'll get you ready for all of that here on the Sports Complex, making some college football picks, talking a little bit about the crazy West Virginia-Houston game last night, then not-so-crazy Broncos-Chiefs game. But NFL, a little MLB, as both the ALCS and the NLCS are set. We are down to 4 teams in the Major League Baseball playoffs. And, maybe I'll mention that the Spurs are playing at 6:30.
Oh, are they?
Another Wembanyama. I'll find the tweet where I'll tell you how many Miami Heat players are not playing, and then you will ask, who was left?
Oh, well.
There's about 8 guys. I'm Patrick Davis. I'm here all the time. With me on Fridays to get through our picks, my man Jacob Standard joining the show. Jacob, are you having a good Friday so far?
I'm having a great Friday up until about a couple hours ago. I did some research for something I'm going to talk about later, and all it did was irritate me. So I'm glad I did that on a Friday.
Yeah, this show can be annoying when you do a show and you're like, I have this idea, and then you do the numbers and you're like, I was wrong and it's worse.
This will be fun. No, this was terrible, and now I have to bring it up. Yeah.
Oh, if you guys had any things you want to bring up that are terrible or good, you can bring up good things. It's a Friday. We'll be positive. 512-447-3776. 512-447-3776 is the text line. You guys drive the show. We just try to keep it on the rails. And, whatever, if you guys want to talk about anything, we'll get to the big fat poll in a little bit. If you got some picks for the weekend, Texas can't lose this weekend. That's a positive.
There you go.
Texas cannot lose.
Can't pick up loss number 2 this weekend.
No, don't say loss number 2. See, that's negative.
What is it?
No, I know, but if you just said they can't lose, then we're not mentioning the first loss.
Oh, we're just going to ignore that happen?
Yes.
No way.
Yes, we're going to ignore things on a Friday. We'll remember it on a Monday.
All
Monday's days where you talk about losses. Fridays, it's all about wins.
There you go. Okay.
Friday's all about wins. Speaking of which, if you haven't gone to our YouTube page, check out our YouTube page in the Horn Austin and see how I am victorious in a game where some morning show producer thought he could beat me in a basketball and horse. That's crazy. Ty thought he could beat me.
Yes, you did beat him pretty good, but I wasn't allowed to play, and I feel like the outcome was dramatically affected because of that.
How many times we played and the outcome has been almost exactly like what that outcome was?
Well, I thought we were just warming up.
We were just warming up.
I didn't know we were keeping record. Yeah.
The best part about that is we watch the video, Ty seems kind of already blown up by the time we start. People did not realize he was shirtless and shoeless before we started filming, and he had to put clothes back on because he was that tired already when we started filming that video.
Yeah, that's when I knew it was going to be a long filming session.
It was going to be bad. And then I was just sweaty for the rest of the day at work. So that was not fun either.
Yeah.
Doing a show and just having to apologize to the guys, to Brock, who ran the Vandergrift game.
Oh, he took over that room for you?
He took over the room after me in this little studio, the little producer's booth that we're in that I sit in every day behind the board. It's like, I apologize if it stinks in there.
I played basketball about 6 hours ago.
About 6 hours ago. And I move very little, yet still somehow enough sweat to make me smell terrible.
Who do you think sweat more?
Me or Ty?
Yeah.
Ty.
I would say so too.
But that was also because he was running and there was a point where I stopped for a little bit because I was like, oh, I don't want to, I should just take a break. Jacob's not even down here to film this yet.
Right.
So I'm not. Yeah. 512-447-3776 is the text line. Did you get to watch any of the West Virginia-Houston game last night?
Pieces of it. I was tuned into the Thursday night football game. Kind of wish I would have watched that one more, just seeing the highlights from it. That was an electric game.
No, it was. And it was a game where it kind of went back and forth throughout the whole game, and you knew it would. It comes down to the end. Houston decides to go for it on a fourth. Well, they don't. They're going to go for it. Then they do a false start. They're trying to get West Virginia to jump. They don't jump, so they punt the ball away, knowing that their defense is really just kind of garbage. And West Virginia comes down. They get to a 4th and 10 on the 50-yard line.
Yep.
West Virginia then completes a pass, and basically all of Houston falls over.
There was no one within 10 yards of him.
Yeah, they just all take bad angles. He gets in. They score with, I believe, 12 seconds left on the clock.
Yes, 12 seconds.
Go up by 4.
Yep.
With 12 seconds left on the clock. And then my favorite part was Garrett Green, the quarterback for West Virginia, starts going over and really laying into the Houston fans.
I
Which I'm
didn't see
guessing
that.
we're talking trash to him all game. But you're supposed to be. You're undefeated in the Big 12.
Right.
You were the favorite in the game. Houston's not that great. You can't go over and be like, yeah, we beat. Like, you got to act like you've been there. And I know you haven't because you're West Virginia. But you have to act like you've been there. So he's talking all this trash. And then they get an unsportsmanlike. So they push the kick up, push the kick back, which means Houston gets a little bit better field position, gets the ball basically back to around the 50-yard line with 2 seconds left, throws a Hail Mary. They do not swat it to the ground. Everyone knows you swat it to the ground. They teach you that in third grade. Swat it to the ground. The ball goes up. Houston makes a catch, wins the game. The fun moment of Neil Brown while the field is being stormed by the 28 people that were still there in Houston. They all thought the game was over. That he was mad because he wanted them to have to kick an extra point because they were only up by 2. And if they kicked an extra point and West Virginia blocked it and ran it back, then it would be a 2-point conversion for them. Hence, they would tie it. So technically,
I see his
in
argument.
the rules, there was this thing. However, all Houston has to do is take a knee.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do, and you'll be fine. Which, by the way, we'll talk about Miami in a little bit, and all you have to do is take a knee.
Oh, man. How do you do that? How do you
all
do
you
that?
have to do is take a knee. But that was amazing and great for Texas fans. You're playing Houston coming up, so the team you're playing coming up next week gets a win. They didn't look great either.
No,
so
that game made you feel great.
It made you feel pretty good. West Virginia also now has a loss, which means Oklahoma is the only team in the Big 12 without a loss in the with no losses in the Big 12. So that path to the Big 12 championship game gets a little bit easier for Texas because now you're a little bit more in control. You're not completely in control, I don't believe.
Really?
Because there is all the tiebreakers that if it's a multi-team tiebreaker, so if there's like 3 teams with 1 loss at the end of the season.
Oh, okay.
And then it depends too. If Oklahoma loses, now how does that? Because now it's all these and it's head-to-heads and there's a you won't I don't have the time or the math abilities to figure out all the scenarios with X amount of weeks to go, 6 games to go. It seems like a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to wait on it.
Okay.
And
So
assume that some more teams will eat the Big 12 will eat itself and it'll kind of, there's like 7 teams with 1 loss right now. So.
yeah, no doubt. And I expect you to put out a graphic on Twitter immediately after the show breaking down all of the tiebreaker scenarios. So if you can go ahead and get that handled, that would be fantastic.
Yes. We do have a texter. No, I got a texter that is that the Scabs, your opening music? I like to bring up who your opening music is. Opening music is the Heebie-Jeebies. So it is around that time frame. It is an Austin band, but it is the Heebie-Jeebies. The song's called No Doubt. It's off their album Grateful. You can find it online. But yeah, the Heebie-Jeebies is what that opening music is. Good guys, good friends of mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
they're very good. So but I love I'm a fan of that song. What's funny is that song when they do it live has lyrics. The recording it does not. Perfect for an intro song.
Oh, yeah.
Makes it very easy for me. But yes, the Heebie-Jeebies. I appreciate you liking it.
What are the lyrics? Can we say them?
I don't know what they are.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
expect me to remember things.
Some friend.
Some friend.
Yeah.
You know me well enough to know I can't remember things 5 seconds after they happen.
Yeah, this is true.
I do not have a great memory.
This is true.
But I do. I have enough of a memory that I can pull a quarterback's name out from some team randomly at points and then never remember it again.
Well, that's why you don't remember all my horse wins after we get off the show.
Oh, that's what it is. I've forgotten the fact that I've beaten you every single time we've played horse. All right, let's get to some picks. After a crazy Houston-West Virginia game, text line's open 512-447-3776. If you want to tell us what college football game you're looking forward to this weekend, we'll start off with one of the biggest ones. Number 8 Oregon versus number 7 Washington. This is also basically the number 1 and number 3 guys in betting odds for the Heisman right now.
I believe so, yeah.
Bo Nix for Oregon, Michael Penix Jr. for Washington. Penix Jr. is one of those guys, because we played Washington in the bowl game last year, I watched more of his film last season.
Sure.
Going in, and then we played him, and you're just like, hey. So I was already on board that this guy was really good. He's playing at a high level this year as well. He's actually the odds-on favorite now to win the Heisman, even though Caleb Williams is still the talked about guy.
Right.
They're predicting.
He hasn't jumped him in draft order yet.
No, he's not jumped in.
Yeah.
We know, and he's not going to.
Right.
Caleb Williams is who you'd make in a lab if you wanted to make a quarterback.
Yeah, he's the creative player.
Yeah. So, but this will be an interesting game. So, number 1 in college football in yards per game is Washington with 569.4 yards per game, right? Number 2 in yards per game is Oregon with 555.8 yards per game. So you have two of the most prolific yardage offenses in college football right now. This is going to be a high-scoring game. Neither one of these guys play a lot of defense. It's going to come down to if you get a turnover and someone just basically turns over the possession, I think you're probably going to go for it on a lot of fourth downs.
I would think so.
So this game will come down. Washington is a 3-point favorite in the game. I would take Washington in this game. I'm just a bigger fan of Penix Jr. than I am of Bo Nix. I think Oregon is probably a more complete team. But if I look at just some of the key players on Washington, I like what they do a little bit more. It's kind of a toss-up, but I would take Washington in this one just because I kind of like those guys a little bit more. And if I'm going to say who I think would make a mistake, I would put it on Bo Nix before I would put it on Michael Penix.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I'm also going to take Washington in this one. Bo Nix, he's only 14th in yards per game, but it's a little skewed. He barely plays in the fourth quarter because Oregon's always up by so many points. Like in this meeting of juggernauts, though, like you said, I genuinely don't know which way to lean. So I'm going to get a little help from my friends in Vegas, and whichever way they're leaning, that's where I'm going. I'll take Washington to cover 3 points. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Let's go over to a Big 12 game. Kansas, number 23, Kansas. Everybody thought that Kansas was going to lose last week with Bean still starting. Jalen Daniels out. Everybody thinks that they're not going to be able to do anything. They go on to destroy UCF.
Boy.
They have 399 rushing yards last week.
Oh my
so
gosh.
It's not, they said, all right, we don't need the quarterback. We're just going to run the ball. They kill it. Here's the problem. Oklahoma State last week allowed 220 rushing yards.
Yeah,
to
that's not great.
K-State. So if we say that this team is going to be this Oklahoma State, they've kind of been on and off. They play better at home than they do on the road. So, they could come out and Mike Gundy could have the right game plan. Jalen Daniels is still a doubtful for the game. They don't expect him to play in the game. So you'll have Bean most likely playing again. But I still have faith in this Kansas team. I think they're doing well. I have faith in them to come through and beat an Oklahoma State team that just seems a little bit down right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same side of the fence there again. The offensive numbers for both teams are nearly identical except one, and it's the one you brought up. It's the rush yards per game. Kansas 232 to Oklahoma's 132. Give me Kansas -3 in that game. Even though it's at Oklahoma State, I tend to lean with the home team on close matchups like that, but I just think the ground game is going to be too much to handle.
Yeah, it's one of those Big 12 things. I think Kansas is just a different, I think they're one of those teams that is using NIL and the transfer portal and all of that at a higher level than a lot of these other teams. Mike Gundy is especially behind the times on those things.
He just outright refuses.
Yeah, so when you have those, the teams that are kind of elevating are the teams that are using every tool at their disposal, where Oklahoma State, between not really wanting to do it and, their big sugar daddy passing away, they lose. So it's hard to, get money. They just seem a little bit behind talent-wise. They're going to put up a fight, but I think Kansas is actually still going to win after we saw what they could do last week. Auburn versus at LSU. Number 22 LSU. LSU's favored by 11 points, which is still a big number, and I get it, but LSU has not looked good. Their offense looks great. Their defense looks terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And Auburn is not great, but they have a pretty good defense. They're hard-nosed. They're going to be physical, and it's kind of this battle of a finesse team versus a team of just guys coming right at you.
Right.
And LSU is 113th in scoring defense. So you can, even though Auburn's offense isn't great, you feel like they are really going to be able to get some points up against LSU. And if you're able to get in and get some hits and win the line of scrimmage, defensive line of scrimmage against the offensive line, and slow that offense down just a little and maybe get a turnover or two in that game, I think it's wide open for you to cover 11. That's saying you may not beat LSU, but to cover 11, they covered against Georgia last 2 weeks ago. When they played Georgia, they covered that. I believe they were a 10-point dog or something like that, and they lost by 7 and put a scare into Georgia. So this Auburn team is not great, but I think they can. I don't think they're a double-digit loss to LSU, an LSU team who is just really struggling, and the defense doesn't seem to really care that much.
Yeah, no, and I hate this, but I agree again. 3 out of 3. I think the way Auburn plays football, they want to play defense and they want to move the ball on the ground. Yeah. I think that lends itself well to staying within a double-digit spread just because it shortens the game up.
And that's the thing, too. Moving the ball on the ground against an LSU team like this with that defense is you're basically allowing yourself to get so many opportunities to break a big play.
Yeah.
Because they just, you're like, hey, enough of those guys don't pay attention on the play and we get one to the outside, we don't have to take a high-risk play to try and get all our points up. We can kind of just run the ball and play short game and
we're just going to break this thing down 3 to 4 yards at a time.
And try and use time to really bog down your offense that you don't ever get a momentum going in this game. So I think LSU could still win this pretty easily, but 11 points is a lot of points.
And I typically don't like double-digit spreads in the SEC unless it's Bama or Georgia.
Yeah, I agree. And Georgia didn't cover against them in a double-digit spread anyway against Auburn.
Right, exactly.
BYU at TCU. TCU is a 6-point favorite. These are some of the Big 12 games where you're starting to look at who else may be in the one-loss club or who else may be kind of competing with Texas and TCU because of what they did last season. Yes, they lost a lot of players. Can TCU they look like they're playing better than when they started off the season where they had a lot of struggles, get that Colorado loss, trying to find themselves. They're doing a little better right now, but they also lose their quarterback, Morris. Josh Hoover, redshirt freshman, is going to come in the game. He comes in the game last week. First play fumbles snap.
Yep.
Second, then in the next drive, throws an interception.
Great.
So not a great start to his career. But then he kind of turns it, and he plays okay.
He had a decent line by the end of it.
Yeah, so he figured it out. He bounced back, right? So I think that he's going to be able to – I'm curious to see. Now, he may be awful, and, this may be a runaway for BYU, but BYU is not a great team either this year. They've had turnover problems in some of their losses, and I think the game will really come down to whether Hoover or BYU decides to turn the ball over. And if TCU's defense is able to get them to turn the ball over a couple times, then I think TCU can easily cover 6.
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite way on this one, actually.
There you go.
I'm going to take BYU plus 6. That redshirt freshman is it's a little worrying. Josh Hoover at QB. I know he had a good line, but I don't trust him to put enough points up to cover the 6 points. I think TCU could still win the game, but I think maybe a field goal.
All right, well, let's do one more, and we'll get to Patrick's Big Fat Poll of the day. We'll get you guys on the text line, 512-447-3776. One more, but there's a big one. This one is big. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Number 10, USC at number 21, Notre Dame. Notre Dame is favored. They're the home team. It's basically 2.5 points. It's kind of that home team swing, that it'll be a toss-up in a neutral site kind of thing. But they're saying that Notre Dame at home is going to be able to come out and play against this defense of USC that has been picked apart game after game after game. And everybody told Lincoln Riley, you should probably fix that defense. And he says, I got Caleb Williams. We're going to be fine.
We're going to score 70.
Have some brisket. And the defense all left.
Have some brisket.
But the Notre Dame, they've lost 2 out of their last 3. The one they won was also barely a win. So they have had some struggles over 3 weeks. And it's Sam Hartman, the quarterback for Notre Dame, transfer from Wake Forest, he's had a pretty good season up until these last 3 games, and it just kind of slowed down, and the offense doesn't feel like it's really moving the ball well. And what can cure that but playing a rivalry game against a terrible defense? Because this is a big rivalry game for Notre Dame and USC, and they're going to come out and, this saving Notre Dame's season, because if you lose this game, you are now Sam Hartman thing. You could put up all the numbers, but you're done after this year. Yeah. Now we got to go find another quarterback,
right,
and try and bounce back another one. And people going to be starting questioning Freeman after Brian Kelly, and is that the answer? And how much more of a leash do we give him? Do we give him a full another season to put this together? But that's if you can recruit another quarterback. But if you can't get another quarterback in there, then it doesn't matter how good your defense is. So we know that it's going to be, can Notre Dame's defense slow down Caleb Williams, which I think it's going to be. Notre Dame's defense is better than USC's off. I'm trying to put this in the way of the matchup of Notre Dame's offense versus USC's defense.
Sure.
I think Notre Dame wins that more than
USC's offense
versus Notre Dame's defense. I just feel like that is a game where that USC is going to be able, that Notre Dame's going to be able to put up points. All that being said, it's a rivalry game, and I think Caleb Williams just wins the game. I think Notre Dame has not shown the ability to close games, and so everything would tell you I think Notre Dame's going to be able to put up points, but I think Caleb Williams just does Caleb Williams stuff at the end of this game, and it never gets out of reach for USC, and they're able to have a drive at the end of the game or around the end of the game and go put up the points, and then Notre Dame's not able to get it moving at the end, and
Yeah, all you need is a field goal.
and that's so that kind of thing is. So I could see that. That's what I'll say. I'll say that I'll take the dynamic player to make this will be his big highlight reel so far of the season for Caleb Williams is what I'll say. I'll say USC wins this one.
Okay, I'm going to go the other way. I like when we disagree. I don't like when we're all in unison. Yeah, I'll take Notre Dame to cover the 2.5. I will say this, the weather forecast, now obviously weather can change, but the weather forecast predicted for that game, 45 degrees, 50% chance of rain, and gust up to 25 miles an hour.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds like a dirty, gritty kind of football game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That doesn't really sound like USC's style.
It does not, but I also think Caleb Williams can kind of get out of the pocket and run the ball some in that as well. And if he can get out of the pocket and move a little bit downfield and then get the ball and create,
Yeah.
I think he can create in space and not necessarily chunk it downfield, but get those 15-yard passes in to a guy who's wide open.
Yeah, we'll see.
So-
It's going to be tough. The field's going to be a little damp. Give me the Fighting Irish in the cold, and again, Sam Hartman against that USC paper-mache defense. I'll take that all day.
Love it. All right, we're going to make some more picks. When we come back, we'll also talk some MLB and give our predictions of the ALCS and the NLCS. If you want to tell any of your predictions, tell us in the text line, 512-447-3776, 512-447-3776. And we will get to the Patrick's Big Fat Poll of the day.
Patrick's Big Fat Poll of the day on the Horn.
Easy one today, just a fun Friday poll for everybody. When you just want to get a big fat poll on a Friday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we can text got a bye week, how do you spend your Saturday on the bye week? We know you're watching the games every Saturday when they play. What is it? Are you watching games still? Or is this a all right, we're going to do the honey-do list on a Saturday?
Ooh.
Do you stay away from it? Do you decompress? Do you have a ritual you do on your bye week?
Yeah.
What do you do on your bye week? If for Texas bye week, you get one a year. What do you do in your Texas bye week? That is the poll of the day. Tell us on the text line, 512-447-3776. I imagine someone out there has something good. They're like, no, every year in the bye week, this is the thing. We go camping or we do, maybe, I don't know what you do.
There's going to be some reasonable ones. I imagine we get a couple diehards, though, where it's like in the bye week, I dress up in my full game day gear and I kneel in front of the throne in my living room. So, yeah.
I just go down to campus and walk around.
Go walk the stadium a couple times, start to envision the next win.
What's today's date? I'm early. Okay. I'm early for 2 weeks from now.
I'm going to stand in line for tickets for a week.
Yes. We're in a road game next week, too. So, but what do you tell us? 512-447-3776. What do you do on a Saturday in your bye week? Also, the Cowboys aren't playing until Monday.
Yeah.
So if you're a Texas fan and a Cowboys fan, you got nothing on Saturday and Sunday for football. You got to watch these other teams.
I'm going to go find a nice, quiet sports bar, plenty of TVs, and I'm just going to hang out there.
Bar.
Quiet.
Hey, quiet sports
Those exist.
Why would you go to a quiet sports?
Because in our job, every Saturday is revolved around being around the loudest place you can find.
But then you're just going to go there, and then a guy, is he just reading, like, The Art of Football? And what are they reading at these? I assume they were quiet. People were reading.
By quiet, I mean not crowded. Like somewhere where I can just walk in, go get a seat.
So not necessarily quiet.
No, not like just not crowded. I'm just gonna hang out, watch all the TVs, and
just want to walk up to the bar and I'll take two. Shush.
I don't want to push anybody out of the way for a drink.
No, I agree.
It's
I
bye
agree
week
with that.
Saturday.
That's why be at my house.
There you go.
Be in the house.
You don't have to push anybody there.
512-447-3776 is the text line. We'll be right back on the Sports Complex. We'll talk some more college football. We'll get to your text, and we will also talk some MLB playoffs. We're down to 4 teams. We'll get to that. Sports Complex on the Horn. 101.9 AM 1260, the Horn app, and hornfm.com. Back on the Sports Complex here in the Horn on a Friday afternoon. It's a 512 Friday playing local artists that you can go check out live here in Austin. This is the new single from Madam Radar. They're doing a single release party tonight at Saxon Pub. You can check out Madam Radar. Very cool band. They're playing tonight at Saxon Pub, and this is the new single Bamboo Chops. Check it out as well.
What a name.
Bamboo Chops?
Oh, yeah.
Like bamboo chops there?
Yeah.
We're talking some college football. The text line's open, 512-447-3776. We're asking you, how do you spend your Saturday during a bye week? What do you do during a bye week? If you're not, maybe you're just watching the games. If you want to say what game you're looking forward to, what's on your schedule, or we're going to be watching Oregon and Washington, USC, Notre Dame. You going to be watching one of those games? You going to watch one of these ones we're going to talk about in just a second? Maybe watching Sunday night. Maybe Sunday night you're going to that Texas-Houston game. Going to get excited about that. That's a big one too.
Yeah, that's big time.
I know we're talking. We may have a little watch party on Monday because the show will be off on Monday because the Rangers are playing a 3:30 tip or 3:30 pitch. So that'll play during our show time here on the station, which means I think I'm going to try and go out and be with the people and we can go hang out and watch the game. So that's probably what we'll be doing on Monday. More information, go to hornfm.com, follow us on social media, and we'll post it wherever we get it. But, we did not know that it was going to be a day game until about 4 o'clock yesterday.
We're working on things as they come in.
Yeah. At 4 o'clock yesterday, we saw the schedule, the times for the ALCS. Yeah. And so I went, this is going to be a day game. Let's go do something. I could just take the day off, guys, but I do it for you.
That's right.
I go to a bar and watch sports for you. It's not the thing I would do anyway. And it could be a noisy sports bar. It doesn't have to be a quiet one like Jacob likes.
I just want a quiet one on my bye week Saturday. I just want to take in all of college football.
512-447-3776 is the text line. It's open for you right now. I do want to get some more games. We ran out a little bit of time. We'll hit those. We'll hit MLB, and then we'll take another break. Get to your text. Let's go over to UNC. Number 25 Miami and number 12 UNC. UNC is a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Miami had the devastating loss last week. They should have nailed the ball to end the game. Instead, they run a play, run the ball, fumble, end up losing the game.
How does someone not veto that decision?
And
anybody.
Here's the crazy part. That's happened to Mario Cristobal before.
What?
Yes, I believe it happened before, but he didn't lose the game. But it was instead of kneeling it, running the ball and fumbling it and giving the ball back. And you're like, what? So this is just his, I think he's just like no, we don't kneel the ball. We go for it. And you go, there's a reason people kneel the ball.
What do you mean you don't kneel the ball? You don't win football games? That's what you do? That's your mantra?
I don't like victory formation.
They call the formation victory.
I get the trying to be hard-nosed and never stopping. I get all that, but also that's why you don't do it. Because the risk-reward ratio on it of, I'd prefer just guaranteed win. I don't need to, especially in a sport like college football, where a one loss is just so painful.
He's probably not going to fumble here.
You're a ranked team, and now you're at 25 because you did that. You're playing a UNC team at number 12. The problem for Miami in this game is you're going up against a really good quarterback in Drake May, who's starting to play better and better as the season goes on.
Yep.
And if you're playing against Drake May and the season goes on, and what's your weakest part of a Miami team?
What's that?
It's not terrible, but it's the weakest part of the Miami team is the secondary. They've been eaten up through the air plenty of times this season. That is where you figure UNC is going to go. UNC also has a pretty good run game, so you can balance it out. But Drake Mays, it seems like a game where he could easily put up 300 yards passing in this game. I like what UNC's been doing. If I'm going to take Mac over the guy who ran the ball on fourth down.
Yeah,
I ran the ball instead of kneeling.
Oh man, it's unbelievable to me. I can't get past it, but I will try. But no, I like UNC -2.5 as well. They get their chance to let Tez Walker loose, which they've definitely been waiting I won't say impatiently on that.
Oh no, they've been waiting impatiently because the NCAA is a terrible organization who does not care about the players one bit.
No, not at all.
No, we're gonna hold a grudge against a coach and a school. And then, are you going to punish the school or the coach? Nah, the player.
Yeah, just
the guy who had nothing to do with it.
Right. No, it's unbelievable. But they get their chance to let him loose.
Bo Nix is playing his 48th season on his 25th team. But no. Tez, he's playing on his second team he's suited up for.
Yeah, we're going to deny Tez Walker.
Just so stupid.
But yeah, I agree. Give me Drake May, Mac Brown, Tez Walker. I think they beat Mario Cristobal UNC -2.5.
Yep. Missouri and Kentucky both were undefeated last week. Both are not undefeated anymore. Kentucky still ranked number 24. They go up against Georgia last week, and I thought they would be hanging in that game. They did not hang into that game. Kentucky is favored by 2.5 points in this game. The problem, and this is again a matchup of strength versus weakness. Missouri allowed 274 rushing yards last week.
Uh-oh.
And do you know who's running back for Kentucky?
Oh, is he pretty good?
Is he pretty good? Ray Davis is amazing. So, this is, for me, a Kentucky game where if you're able to run the ball on this Missouri team, you're just going to be able to control it for most of the game. Kentucky's a pretty good team. Georgia's just better. And that seemed to be the first time you actually woke up Georgia this season because we talked about earlier with Auburn, that Auburn was able to hang with them and scare them a little bit. But, I have Kentucky covering this one. Missouri just doesn't have the run defense to stop a team that can really run the football.
Okay. Well, Mark Stoops out there in Kentucky had some pretty interesting comments, basically claiming that we need more money from our donors. That way we can keep up with Georgia and Alabama. Reasonable claim, right?
Yeah.
Well, they did not like that. The fans didn't. So, and this Saturday is homecoming night. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Mark Stoops in that game. And Luther Burden for Missouri has put up 793 yards. He's averaging 132 a game. I like Missouri. I like Missouri getting points in that game with all the pressure coming down on Mark Stoops. And I think it's going to get real loud for him over there in Lexington after this game.
I think it will too, but also, that's silly that Kentucky fans are like, oh, we got to give more money. You're like, you've been giving money to an underperforming basketball program for a while now.
Ooh.
Like, you have been throwing money into that basketball program to get the best stars that go to the NBA and become stars in the NBA to get to a maybe Sweet 16 every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, that team has been underperforming, and you've been throwing tons of money into that.
And the bad part is Mark Stoops, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
This is what every coach says now.
Yeah.
Every coach, like, by the way, there's these schools like, I don't know, the Aggies, who will blatantly throw money around, and we don't need to compete with them like dollar for dollar because we're not ever going to be able to.
Right.
But half of those kids are going to transfer out.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to like it, and they went there just for the money. So they want money, but we can sell them on some other things. But we have to be able to pay these guys. And right now, I can pay half of my roster.
Yeah.
I need to be able to pay my full roster because we need to get depth. We need to get another, we need an offensive line that we can get to that next level and all those pieces.
It's just in bad taste, I think.
It's all about how you say it and when you say it. I think it's easier to say in the offseason than it is during the season.
Yes, especially.
And it's not good to say after a loss because then it sounds like an excuse.
A bad loss.
If you would have said it while you're winning and been like, hey, do you like this feeling? Then give me more money.
Right.
then if you're losing and then they go, well, you're not competing with Georgia. Well, I don't have enough money. You're like, no.
Like after the Florida game, hey, we got Georgia coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And if y'all want to compete there.
Yeah, if you want to compete there in a couple of years.
Sneak it in there.
Not going to help. Yeah, not going to help this year. He's not wrong. Everybody says this guy.
No.
I mean, Nick Saban did that too. Nick Saban came out and was like,
yeah,
hey, do you guys want to keep being good? This is the new game.
Right.
Or you could be like Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy. And the funniest part with Mike Gundy is, if you don't know, Mike Gundy has a rollover contract, which basically means that his contract is always like 3 or 4 years long, and every year it just re-ups
with no.
And so there's never a point where you just end that contract.
Oh.
They basically have to come out and be like, hey, we need to cut that off now. But yeah, it just continues to go, and I think the buyout keeps going up. So it's an interesting thing because it isn't a guy that you could ever just wait out and amicably split because the way the contract is for him, that it continually is always like 3 or 4 years.
And he'll just ride it out.
Well, yeah, he's like, I mean.
He's a grown man. He's what?
He was 40 a long time ago.
Yeah.
He was 40 when I was not 40.
There you go. Yeah.
Let's hit Kansas State at Texas Tech, another big Big 12 game. Two teams that we thought were going to be doing a little bit better. I think they're starting to find their ground a little bit more. Will Howard has been playing much better. I'll say this. Morton, the quarterback for Texas Tech, needs to have a clean game. If they have that, Texas Tech's defense at home, I think it's going to be too much for Will Howard and this Kansas State team. Just because of the home team, I'll take Texas Tech. I think if it's at Kansas State wins. But I don't think either one of them is going to be running away with it.
No, and I agree with you completely. That was my same exact rationale. Is neither of these teams really jump off the page to you as super impressive in one area. Brooks, the running back for Texas Tech, is very impressive, but that K-State run defense is very, very good.
Yeah.
So give me the home team, Texas Tech, -1.5.
Yeah, it's and what they say, and everything runs through Lubbock, right?
Everything
runs through Lubbock.
I will say they did play Oregon
Venereal
tight.
diseases.
Oh no.
No. Just taking some shots at Texas Tech.
That
people.
is not the turn I thought that was going to make.
No, it's just about the Raider rash.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, there's Raider rash.
I don't know too much about it. I've heard of it.
It's hilarious when I see I have friends who have kids who are going to college, and then they'll be hanging out and they'll have a friend that's at Texas Tech, and you'll be like, hey, you met any girls that Raider rash? Like, well, it's a thing, and you're like, oh, don't wash your hands, wash your hands. One more game.
Those poor kids.
We'll get
Those
to some
poor
MLB.
kids.
Another big game in the Pac-12. Number 18 UCLA at number 15 Oregon State. We know who the quarterback for Oregon State is, don't we?
Who is it?
It's DJ.
Nailed it.
Every time.
Just making sure you got the pronunciation right. I got it.
UCLA has only allowed 17 points to Washington State last week.
Oh, yeah.
That was the most points they've allowed all season long. Oregon State's been putting up a ton of points. I think this UCLA defense is going to give them a real test. They played Utah, who gave them a test earlier, but Utah did not have an offense that was being able to do anything in that game.
Sure.
Dante Moore's got to have a good game for UCLA. I did. DJ, 5 touchdowns last week.
Yeah.
I think UCLA slows him down. I'm going to have to pick against him because I'm always going to pick against him. I just don't like this Oregon State team very much. And then, in fact, they're number 15. I'm going to take UCLA in this game.
Man, I really don't like this. I think we only went the opposite way on 2 of these.
We got NFL picks coming up.
We do.
We got NFL
I
picks.
also like UCLA with points. That defense, like you mentioned, it's just top notch. Like you said, no one scored more than 17 against them. Dante Moore, I get it. He struggled a little bit. He's a freshman quarterback. He's going to figure it out.
All right, let's get to some MLB predictions. Text line's open, 512-447-3776. What are you going to do in your bye week? What's the game that you're looking forward to in college football? And give me some MLB predictions. Astros and Rangers. Do we got any Astros fans or Rangers fans? I want to know how many games. If you're a homer, how many games your team's going to win in?
Ooh.
Because I think that both teams, if you're in the ALCS, I don't think either team's going to say the other team wins.
No chance.
You're gonna say, but how many games are you giving the other team in this?
Yeah, you want mine?
I mean, so let's go. We'll start. Actually, let's start Phillies and Diamondbacks.
Okay.
We'll go
Let's start
NLCS.
there. Okay.
Phillies versus Diamondbacks. Who you got in this one?
I got Phillies in 7.
I do too.
Oh,
Dead
wow.
agreement
I don't
on
like
that.
this.
Dead agreement. We are dead wrong on this one. Diamondbacks in 4 now, apparently.
I don't like this. I'm really high on this Phillies team after seeing them take out Atlanta because I thought Atlanta was surefire one of the best teams in the MLB. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think the Diamondbacks are going to have a strike. The Phillies have been there before. That environment in Philadelphia is so electric.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing, and so I just give them that edge on that.
And their superstar Bryce Harper. I don't know. I saw something online. I don't know if there's a better fit for a town than Bryce Harper is for Philadelphia.
There is. Now, we got to see how healthy he is. I don't know how bad he got hurt at the end of that game when he collided with the runner and hit his arm. Hopefully it's not too bad. He'll be able to relax. I don't think they play again until Monday.
Yeah, that'd be a bummer.
So hopefully he'll be in the series. Not in the World Series. Not in that one.
No.
He can sit that one out.
Yeah. No, he's got to rest that one. But Phillies in 7. Wow.
Phillies in 7. Okay. Astros versus Rangers. How many games are you giving the Astros to win this?
Astros in 6.
We're agreeing again. This is too much.
No way. I don't like this.
This is too much agreement. I do have Astros in 6 as well. Mostly because they're probably going to drop some at home.
Well, I think this is actually the one time they flipped the script. I think the Astros.
They do well at
that's
home.
why I gave them. Yeah, I think they win it in 6. I think the Astros.
I think the people are. There's going to be too much Creed going on, and you're going to need the Astros to shut up this Creed music. I didn't have a problem with the Rangers all the way until they brought Creed into this problem.
Really?
I can't stand that they're pretending that they don't like Creed, and you shouldn't like Creed.
As an Astros fan, I'm okay with the Creed thing.
First of all, Creed's are Marlins fans. Let's just start there.
Really?
They wrote a song for the Marlins.
Oh.
It's awful, by the way.
Oh, well, that's why I've never heard it.
It is terrible. I'll play it. I'll tell you what. I'll play in the next segment.
Okay,
I'll find
perfect.
it. I'll play it. But yeah, Creed wrote it. Like Scott Stapp does a song for the Marlins.
Oh, man.
So he's already not a fan of your team. Now, of course, he's going to show up because there's money involved.
Yeah.
And he's a good Christian boy who will sell out for money whenever he can. Those are not together. I'm saying he's not a good Christian. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to attack religion on this.
That's not the same category?
I'm going to attack one guy, not religion.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm anti-Creed. I'm anti-Creed.
No, we all know what the Rangers lineup is. They can put up double digits on anybody,
Yeah.
but they haven't been here as often as the Astros. So they'll put up a fight, but that championship pedigree is going to shine through.
Yeah, and it's going to be, once you get past Evaldi, are you going to be able to have the pitching to, continue to stay in the game? And can you trust your guys? Can Bruce Bochy trust his guys if the Astros put up some runs? Because that bullpen has a lot of holes.
Well, the Astros have the same question mark on the starting lineup.
They do, but they've had some guys that played pretty well in the playoffs so far.
No doubt.
And the Astros bullpen is a lot stronger than the Rangers bullpen is.
I'll agree with that, yeah.
So I think that's where you take an edge of if the Astros have to get out of somebody in the fourth or fifth inning, you feel a little bit better about how they're going to be able to get through it. And no, they may not, because you may put Hunter Brown in, and then he decides to have a bad game too, and it's just a loss.
Right.
But I think there's more guys in the Houston bullpen that have a little bit more experience and may be able to do something. So I have the Astros in 6. A World Series winner.
The Astros. Are you kidding me?
How many?
Oh, the Astros in
Astros, Phillies.
Astros in 5.
Yeah. The Astros in 5 sounds good. It
Astros-
may be 6. But yeah,
I genuinely think this ALCS is going to determine who's going to win the World Series.
I do too, but that's probably because I'm a homer.
No, never.
What are your World Series picks, guys, on the text line 512-447-3776? Do you hate Creed? Do you love Creed? I'm going to block your phone number if you love Creed. You can say you like them, but if you say you love them, you're
Go ahead and
blocked.
send in all your Creed suggestions, and we'll come back from every break playing Creed.
We're
How
not.
about
We're
that?
not. It's a 512 Friday. We're playing decent, solid artists from the city of Austin,
We'll have
Texas.
Creed cover
I am-
512
I
Friday.
will tell you. I will play you some of Scott Stapp's terrible Marlin song when we come back. That I'll find. I'll find it. I'm sure it's on YouTube. I will
right.
find that. We'll get to your text, too. 512-447-3776. What games are you looking forward to this weekend? Any predictions for this weekend? What are you going to do for the bye week? Do you still watch football all day? Or are you somebody that says this is the week to take off and maybe tend to familial matters that you have put off for the last several weeks?
I can't do it. It's like an addiction.
Maybe clean the room that's still, go in the garage and get that cleaned out.
Clean your
before,
football room.
The weather's a little bit nicer. The thing if you've been putting off because it's too hot.
Yeah.
Maybe get to that. I don't know. Tell us what you got. 512-447-3776. We come back. We will start reading your text, and we will also play you some terrible Scott Stapp Marlin songs so you can stop rooting for them, Rangers fans. Get Creed out of here. We'll be back on the Horn, 119 until 60, the Horn app and hornfm.com. Back on the Sports Complex on the Horn on a Friday. It's a 512 Friday playing local artists that you can go check out around town this weekend. This is Honey Maid. They're going to be playing tomorrow night, Saturday night, at the ABGB. So you can go get a slice of pizza, get a nice beer, and enjoy some Honey Maid. These guys do soul and funk, and it's a lot of fun.
I'm digging it.
To go check out Honey Maid. So yeah, that is a fun show, and ABGB is a cool place to go check out some music as well down there off Old Torf and South Congress, I think, or South First, maybe.
Nailed it.
South Lamar.
Oh, okay,
Sorry,
got
I can
it.
get down
Yep.
there. I know.
That's what you were
All
trying
the
to say.
streets I was trying to go. I just had to go all down the streets to get there.
You go through the grid.
But I know we played this. This is what I should be playing for all you Creed heads out there on the text line. They want to do. This is Scott Stapp. His tribute to the Marlins.
Oh, yeah.
This song is called Marlins Will Soar because I guess he thinks that Marlins are birds and not fish. Fish don't soar, Scott Stapp.
Do they jump?
I mean, but that's not soaring, really.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah, that's how he starts it, by the way.
Oh.
This is your hero, you guys. This is your hero.
I love that he's singing about baseball plays.
Yeah, all right. That's enough of that. That is Marlins. You can look it up. It's on YouTube. There's a music video for it and everything with Scott Stapp really singing it in a Marlins jersey.
I expected it to be a song with like subtle references to baseball.
Oh, no.
I didn't know this was
No,
going
it's
to be.
dead on. Look, we know Scott Stapp's the lyrical genius of With Arms Wide Open, where he opened up a third grader's. It's like a sixth grader's diary.
Oh, okay.
A sixth grader's diary of what she wanted. Tommy from across the class. He just wanted to have his arms wide open.
Oh.
Wrote that song. Just giving you a hard time, Rangers fans. I like the Rangers team, so it's hard for me I can't get mad at the Rangers because I like their team. I think they're a good team. So I just have to hate the Creed thing. That's the only thing I can latch on to in this rivalry right now. On the text line 512-447-3776. You can tell me if you like Creed. If you say you love him, I may block you though. I don't know if I can even block people on this line. I don't know how to do it. I'll find a way. Maybe it just does it automatically.
I'll unblock you. I'll unblock you. Fear not.
We are asking on the Big Fat Poll of the day, too, as well. What are you going to do on your bye weekend? What do you do out there? TJ Horn says, going to visit my out-of-town girlfriend. Haven't been able to see her in 6 weeks. Yeah, it's going to be a long another 6 weeks after that. And then they play in the Big 12 Championship. That's 7 weeks.
Man.
You get it. Then you get into bowl season.
Yeah.
You better make this weekend count, TJ.
You better hope they don't make the playoffs, man. That's a long wait in
whoa,
between.
Whoa. You better hope that.
For him specifically.
Yeah, but when you hook up after Texas wins the national championship, it's a good visit right there, TJ. I'm telling you. Dexter says, Rangers and Creed in 6.
I don't know about that one.
Rangers sweep.
Wow.
Y'all are just jealous you don't have any great 90s alternative bands repping you guys like Creed. Creed is Scott Stapp's a Marlins fan. I just played you the song he wrote for the Marlins. He's not a Rangers fan.
Oh my goodness!
He's in it for the money grab. He's using you guys.
If the Rangers go all the way, can you imagine the single they put out after that?
It's gonna sound like that. It's gonna be the exact same thing. It's just gonna be "Come on, Rangers, make us proud." He's just gonna change the word out. Who is winning and how many games between Creed and Nickelback? Let's not call the Astros Nickelback. Let's not start there. And I'm not a Nickelback hater.
No.
I get what they do. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's not. I wouldn't go see it a lot, but I get it. It's okay. It is what it is. It's better than Creed.
Let's not even play around with this. Nickelback would sweep Creed.
I don't know. That would be the worst fight ever. It would be like, when brothers fight and they don't really want to hit each other or do anything. It's like two guys just kind of holding each other tightly a lot.
Yeah.
Just like you're like,
I'm going to hit you.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you.
Just headlocks that are like up around the top of the head, not really doing anything. That's what that fight. Chief Engineer Creed sucks. I sent you the tip on that. My wife had them on the playlist. I gripe every time I hear that ear cancer.
Oh.
I like that. I do also like that he says that he is going to spend some time with his wife because he ignores her the rest of the season.
Yeah, you should do that. Use this weekend to, go ahead and do that.
Oh, this is a good one. We got to go to break, but I like this one. I dated a girl that worked for the company that would clean Scott Stapp's house in Miami every week. She says he had no furniture and sleeps on a mattress on the floor. Beautiful house, though.
He's a creative. He's a creative. This is what they do.
Is he creative, or did he just spend all his money on the house?
Well, I don't. He spent all his money on production.
Don't
because
worry,
he loves
don't worry.
his
The
music.
next tour will pay for furniture.
He loves his music that much. He
You
spent
know what?
all of his
You guys,
money-
the Rangers fans, are going to buy him furniture. He's going to go spend it to watch Marlins games. You guys, we got to take a break. We come back, talk some NFL. More of your text, 512-447-3776. You can enjoy more of Scott Stapp, and just, it's so bad. So bad. We'll be back on the Sports Complex. Back on the Sports Complex on a Friday afternoon. It is hour 2 of the show today. The Vandergrift played yesterday, so we're all the way to 7 o'clock on a Friday. It's been
Look at us.
Look at us.
Look
There's
at
no
us.
Rangers game tonight. There's no Creed tonight.
Yeah, we almost seem like professionals.
We almost seem like professionals. Just wait. Text line is open. 512-447-3776. You guys always make the show so much more fun. Say, you guys drive the show. I just try to keep it on the rails, and sometimes it gets off the rails on a Friday because we're excited because I have about an hour more of work, and then I probably got 2 more hours of work, but I have 1 more hour of work, really. And then I can kind of pace it out for the rest of the weekend. So, and then Monday will be the Rangers will be on, so we'll probably be out somewhere. Follow us on social media. You can follow me at It's Patrick Davis. I know I'll tweet out where I'll be at, whether the station's there or not. I'll be out somewhere. I'll go out and be with the people.
That'll be a good time.
And if anybody tries to play Creed on their phones around me, I'm leaving.
Oh, I'm going to go find the PA system. Hopefully they play it everywhere. And I'm an Astros fan. I just want to see you annoyed.
Do the Astros need to find a band, or are we just like, we're winners, we don't need to do that?
We need to declare one for them.
We need to declare one for the I don't want to I feel like anybody I declare it's going to be a bad. I feel like I'm going to leave something off and they're going to be like, "Oh, by the way,
You're the leader of 512 Fridays. I trust you to pick the band for the Astros.
well, I mean, it's ZZ Top if it's for going because it's Houston.
Okay, you've now lost your chance to pick the band.
That's what I
for
said.
the
I mean,
Astros.
if you're going to say what's the best band out of Houston, it's ZZ Top.
Yeah, okay.
They're from Houston. They are Astros fans.
Well, the Rangers,
unlike Scott Stapp, who is a Marlins fan,
the
as
Rangers
we've
have
heard
shown
already.
It doesn't have to be a Houston band.
It doesn't have to be, but I prefer it to be because I like my things to work, and that I like my song to be from a fan of the team.
Okay.
There's by the way, I've played them before. There are some terrible Astro songs out there too.
Really?
Yeah, there's some bad ones.
Uh-oh.
I mean, great ones. Good job, guys. But there's some terrible ones. Which for every team, there's just bad songs for every team. And there's some okay, like funnier ones and stuff like that. But every team, especially if you're winning, you get a bunch of songs made about you.
Well, for the Astros, we might not have to go band. Maybe we go like Paul Wall.
Like there's a polka song about Jose Altuve, I believe.
What?
And played, there's a bunch of stuff. You can
Please don't play that.
I played it on these airwaves before.
Oh, man.
Don't tell me. I'm only playing Scott Stapp's Marlins Will Soar from here on out. That's all we're playing.
I'm okay with it.
There's another minute on the song. I can still keep playing it.
There's another minute?
There's another minute. I don't know where he goes from it. I don't know if I've ever listened 2 minutes into this song. The text line's open, 512-447-3776. Scarlett says, for the bye week, I'm going to have a seance on the lawn at DKR, and me and Daryl Spirit's going to howl at the eclipse. Yeah, it's Friday the 13th. There's a full moon on Friday the 13th, and the eclipse is tomorrow. Scarlett's going to go out there and conjure some dark spirits.
That's what I'm talking about. We need more people bought in like Scarlett.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, Scarlett. Random texter number 69. Way off topic, but today Bill Belichick ended an immediate debate by who's starting the quarterback going to be for the rest of the season by waiving Bailey Zappi. Not sure if Dallas or New England has the most stubborn and senile GM right now. No, look, Bailey Zappi wasn't really going to be the guy either.
I was going to say, was that, I mean.
They tried to get Matt Corral, and that didn't work out. They picked him up earlier. And, I mean, I'm sure they're waiving him, and they're going to pick him up and put him on the practice squad again or do whatever. But I don't know where else he's going to end up right now either. But they want to go with Matt because they're trying anything to, get through this. The bigger question is how long until you just start tanking the season and then go, well, we'll just pick a quarterback in the draft.
Or how long until you move Bill into like a GM role?
Oh, no, I don't think no, because he's too close to the all-time coaching record.
Yeah.
He's too close to Shula. So I think that there's a thing where if he's not coaching in New England, he's going somewhere else.
He's also hell-bent to win one more because Tom did.
Oh, no, he's never going to win another championship.
I don't think so.
Not as a head coach.
Yeah.
Because I don't know like a young offensive coordinator who's going to be like, let me hop in here and do all of the work for you.
Not in New England, he won't. I could never see New England getting rid of him or making him go find a job elsewhere. But
what about this? What if the Jets struggle enough and then they're like, Aranda's out, we're going to bring in Bill Belichick and then have Aaron Rodgers next season healthy?
Oh wow.
By the way, that's not happening. I'm not predicting it to happen.
No.
I just want to make somebody grimace in their car.
Well, since we're in fairy tale land, I'm glad to see the Cowboys have picked up Patrick Mahomes.
Jello Cat texted, don't know if I missed it, but did you see the Houston, West Virginia game last night? Yes, we did. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. I'll have that up on the podcast page here after the show. Have I ever seen 2 last-second field touchdowns like that in the same game? I feel like I have. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I know, like, in the Texans game this weekend, C.J. Stroud scored and then almost immediately Atlanta came back down the field and scored 2 to win the game. So it happens. It happens. That was crazy that it was 12 seconds left. They scored. And then, 0 timeouts for West Virginia with a minute something, and they were able to score. It was a crazy end that I paused. I was watching it, and then had to pause it, and then, tell my friend to turn it, to watch it. Like, no, you have to watch it. Just watch it. And he's like, wow, what a crazy finish. I'm like, it's not over. It's not over.
Oh,
Watch.
you brought someone back into the room?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's
it was a great finish. You had to
it
watch
was a great, and it makes it better. I didn't know the West Virginia QB was talking trash. That's amazing.
Chief engineer, my Raiders and McDaniel will pick him up along with trading Max Crosby for a bag of peanuts and a used Blockbuster gift card. Yeah.
Oh no.
That sounds about right.
Oh.
Sounds about right. Taylor takes Chiefs. Beyonce takes Strohs. Beyonce good. Beyonce is another Houston one. You can put Beyonce in there. I don't know what song Beyonce would do,
I don't know if
though.
Beyonce's going to get you pumped up for a baseball game.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
know. All the single ladies isn't going to get.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, I guess put a ring on it.
Put a ring on it could work.
It could, because you get a ring for the.
Could work. Everybody knows the words.
Everybody knows the words.
They
You're
know
putting
the
a
dance.
World Series championship ring on it.
They know the dance.
Yeah.
Actually, that
All
could
right,
work.
all
Okay.
right, all right.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it, but I'll go with it.
I feel like we should have at least 3 or 4 more suggestions, but that one's on the. Yeah.
It's on there.
That
We found a connection. It's better than Scott Stapp and Creed.
It's on the
I'll
short
give you
list.
That's not hard. It's not a hard sell. That the guy, one-man band guy, is better than Scott Stapp and Creed.
Right.
But, we'll
I
go
still like if we're gonna go that route and we're not doing full bands. I mean, Paul Wall in Houston, he would shut that place down.
He would. I just don't know any Paul Wall songs because I'm an uneducated person.
Shame on you.
I don't.
Shame on you.
I stopped listening to hip hop around 2001, 2002.
So you know he's a hip hop artist.
I do.
Okay.
I know who Paul Wall is.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to miss him. I mean, it's.
I'm aware he's a very big fixture in Houston. So I see him and I'm there and I'm like, I know who this guy is.
Yeah.
Could not tell you so.
Okay.
Let's take some picks. If you didn't see last night, Broncos lose to the Chiefs. Chiefs cover barely 19-8. It was ugly. When you score like 19-8, you go, yeah, it probably wasn't a fun game to watch. It was not a fun game to watch. Russell Wilson still terrible. We are getting closer and closer to the world of what do you do with Russell Wilson in that contract. Because it just doesn't seem like it seems like it's only getting worse. The talk now that they're going to, Jerry Jeudy's open for trade and Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton had a great catch in that game too. The one touchdown. Incredible catch. Yeah.
Incredible. And you also hear all this stuff about ex-Seahawks now talking about Russell Wilson and what was really going on behind the scenes there in Seattle, and no one really talked to him or invited him to go do things. So it's just the Russell Wilson story is getting a little muddy.
It is.
Yeah.
When you can have that over a Danger Witch sandwich from Subway.
Oh, no.
Those commercials were they
were dangerous.
Let's go Broncos country. Let's do it. All right. Let's ride. All right, let's start off. We'll start off with the Texans, and we're going to get to the Cowboys at the end.
Okay.
So start with Texans, go to the Cowboys at Monday Night Football, but we're off Monday, so we're going to the Horn will be on the air Monday.
Right.
E and Rod B with Hook 'em Up will be on 6 to 11 on Monday.
Sure.
But the Rangers will be on during 5 to 7, so I will not be on the air.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. But Texans I'll play on Sunday. They're playing the Saints. It's in Houston. Saints are favored by 2. Laramie Tunsil is going to be active.
Hey.
So you're getting back that left tackle. Titus Howard, I believe, is back on the right tackle.
All right.
You're starting to get some guys back on this lineup. You still have which I can't remember. It's the right guard that you've had, who's actually been the only guy there that you traded for from Tampa Bay. You're able to have him, but you're getting much closer to the lineup. And once Juice Scruggs comes back off of injured list, which he is now eligible to come back from, so once he is healthy, you'll move him back to center most likely, and move Patterson, who's been playing center, doing pretty well, to left guard. And that'll be your starting 5 that you would like to have. Shaq Mason is the guy's name.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you can have that starting 5, that changes the dynamic a little bit because you may be able to start running the ball a little bit more, which they have had no luck running the ball so far this season. Even with Dameon Pierce, a good running back, but he is not having a good season.
Do you take the ball out of CJ's hands, though?
But you've been trying to run the ball anyway. I'm just, you want to get 20 carries a game to a running back.
Yeah.
It's still 40 passes a game, if you're going to run 60 plays. But the offensive line is starting to get healthy. The problem is the Saints secondary is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So Stroud's going to have his biggest test yet. This could be the week he throws his first pick because this Saints defense is pretty good at picking the ball off. It's going to be a difficult game for the Texans, but you know what? I'm a homer. I'm going with the Texans. The Saints team is not great. Derek Carr, Carr's Lux in Houston. as someone who is a Texans fan from the beginning, cars don't do well in Houston.
Yeah, no. That's,
no. He grew up around this franchise.
We'll put it this way. One's on TV now.
One is on TV now. No, but I think this will be a closer game. It'll depend. This will be a huge test for C.J. Stroud, that if he's able to still move the ball at that rate, if Bobby Sloak is still able to figure out ways to get this Texans team playing and get this offense moving against a really good Saints secondary. Are you able to run the ball on this team that is a little bit weaker at the run game, run defense? Are you able to do that because you have to, you can't just keep trying to throw it into a really good secondary?
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I'm going to lean Texans on this one. And normally I would take the Saints in this sort of matchup just because of their defense. I love the way their defense plays. But CJ Stroud, I've picked against him for the first couple weeks of the season. I'm not doing it anymore. I just he is unbelievable back there. And I think he can win by more than 2 points.
Yeah, that's it. And so it's at home. I will give Houston that this crowd's going to start to get into it more, that this Houston team is starting to give fans a reason to get excited again. So I think that they will have a big moment in that game. It's going to be a big weekend in Houston because you have that, and then you have the game Minute Maid afterwards.
Oh yeah, that city's going to be buzzing.
It's going to be buzzing. Yeah. And that's why I believe one of the reasons why also you're having the day game on Monday is because the Cowboys play on Monday Night Football. So you didn't want to have the Rangers and Dallas playing at the same time.
Yeah, probably don't want to do that one.
They're on different networks, and I think the different network was like, yeah, you know what? We don't want to go up against that because we're going to get terrible ratings. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's a day game on Monday. Let's go. Ravens-Titans. Ravens are 4.5-point favorites at Titans. This is the international game, another game in London.
Yep.
Ravens went there earlier this week.
Monday.
Have hung out. They've been hanging out, trying to get up to it. Titans didn't leave till yesterday.
Yeah.
It's becoming a thing where people are trying to figure out how to get over there and not be jet lagged in that game and be ready and be able to be focused and all that. And
they're going to have to. The NFL is going to make this happen where it's a regular.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're really trying to push it. They're probably going to put more and more games. Hopefully they figure it out more like they're starting to figure out Thursday Night Football, that it's not always terrible. You get like 8 good Thursday Night Football games a year now, as opposed to 0.
Yeah, that was rough.
When it was on NFL Network. So I think if you figure out a way to make some of these games decent and have teams that are over there maybe for 2 weeks and make it so you have more of an opportunity to be over there and you don't have these jet lag games. But this is the thing. I think that the Ravens are going to have some problems even though they got there early because it still is an international game. The Ravens have had problems with drops. And when you're going up against a team with a coach like Mike Vrabel, who is just a kind of hard-nosed, understands how to pull out bad games, I think this game's not going to be great. I'd like that the Ravens got there early, but I'll take the Titans with the points. With the 4.5 points, I will take them. I think the Ravens can still win this game, but I think it's an ugly game that is close. So I'll take the 4.5 points.
That's interesting. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take the Ravens to cover the 4.5. I like the fact that they've been there since Monday, and everything that's coming out from their media is like, hey, man, we love it over here, and we were surprised to see that people love us over here.
Yeah.
Like, Lamar is excited to be over there, and people are recognizing him. And this team, Mark Andrews said it, this team is dangerous. It's just a sleeping giant right now.
Yeah.
And I think this is the perfect opportunity, catch a team that's a little bit jet-lagged, to kind of get in rhythm on this offense. Eliminate the drops, blow this team out, cover the 4.5.
If they eliminate the drops, I don't think it's much of a game. But I just think a lot of these London games are being there's kind of slugfest, and you don't get the prep up for them enough, and you just kind of go out there and fight. And so if it was 2.5 points, I'd take the Ravens, but I think a field goal game is possible in this. So that's why I'll take the Titans. Commanders and Falcons. Falcons 2.5-point favorites in this game. But there's a big one. If the Falcons can start going, it's a team a lot of people didn't have doing much this season. Desmond Ridder would step it up to that next level. Bijan Robinson looks amazing. Like that difference between Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, and I know Gibbs has been hurt, but you look at that difference of, they're both really good players, and they could be electric. And, man, Bijan is just, hey, we're getting the red zone. Just get him the ball. Just any way you can get him the ball, and he's going to get in the end zone.
They had another sweet skyline shot of him where they throw him the ball. He catches it behind his back without looking at it and finishes the play. Bijan is not real.
No, it's crazy. Commanders are banged up on defense. Falcons are 3-0 at home. I'd have the Falcons covering this.
I'll take the Falcons, too. Bijan is incredible.
He's just so good. And if you make Desmond Ridder look good, you're that good. Seahawks and Bengals. Bengals 3-point favorites. Burrow says he's finally getting healthy. We saw last week he started to be able to move around a little bit more. He was basically stuck in the pocket for the first few weeks of the season. Now that he's moving around, buying himself a little bit more time, he gets Jamar Chase the ball again and again and again. And unlike, I know we're not going to get the Cowboys, but unlike Jerry Jones, who wants to spread the ball to all his receivers, get it to your star receivers. He gets it to Jamar Chase. They win the game. They are now favored against a Seahawks team that has a better record. If you're the Seahawks, you have to pressure Joe Burrow. You have to try and get at him and make him not be able to get time to get the ball out because that's what's been stopping him. But I think the Bengals are starting to figure it out. If he's healthy, then this Bengals team can change.
I agree. I like the Bengals at home as well. The Seahawks, they're going into a pretty rowdy environment, and that team is finally giving their fans reasons to believe moving forward. I think it's going to be too much to handle for the Seahawks. Joe Burrow, with the injury too, healing up, he can finally drive the ball better because he was having a hard time. Like that 15-yard pass, it was kind of floating out there a little bit. So
that's if he started to look better last week and he has another week of healing, I that's where you start to see, okay, this is the Joe Burrow we expect to see. Let's go. Colts Jaguars, AFC South on the line. The Jaguars are coming back from that hangover from London. They spent 10 days in London, adjusted their clock to London time,
a long time,
and now are back trying to readjust your clock back to time in Florida. The Colts and you basically are going up and scouting a team that you haven't seen Jonathan Taylor play this year, really. He got 6 carries, I think, last week.
Yeah.
You have Gardner Minshew is now playing your starting quarterback. You don't really know what they're going to do with him. So you're coming off of overseas for 2 weeks and then trying to go straight into a game where you don't know what you're going up against. I think that's going to be a lot for the Jaguars, and they just haven't looked really good this year.
Yeah.
And I think all those kind of things going against them, they're getting 4 points. They're giving 4 points as well, the Jaguars. I'll take the Colts. They've looked pretty good this year. They've looked, not great, but they've looked better than I thought they would. I think Gardner Minshew will get you a couple wins in this span before teams really start to figure him out, and then it starts to go downhill a little bit. But then you'll have Anthony Richardson back, and it changes the game plan up again.
Yeah, again, I don't like this because we are in unison. Again, for all the reasons you just mentioned, that's a lot to keep up with for the Jags. And when you're playing an offense that presents these problems you haven't seen yet, you need all the preparation time you can get. And they're readjusting their clocks. They're spending travel days.
And if you just talk about, even if the coaches, can get their stuff done and they can get out there, you're talking about players that, if one linebacker who's out there is just having a brain fog.
Yeah, he's still adjusting.
And he misses out on that whole thing where you're like, by the way, Jonathan Taylor does this little move and that breaks it for a touchdown. Or Gardner Minshew likes to throw, he'll look you off this way. All those little things that you're missing because you've been on the road, it's another one of the problems of, well, if you leave guys over there for 2 weeks, you probably want to have a bye week on the way back.
Right.
So that you don't, you can readjust to coming back over.
And I will say this as well. There's not a huge drop-off when Gardner Minshew comes in from Anthony Richardson. They just present different problems.
Yeah. No, and Gardner Minshew's been good. He's one of those guys, though, you go, can he play? How many weeks can he play before you start to see diminishing returns? Yeah. Because people start to figure him out a little bit more.
Right.
One more before we go to break, and then we'll get to the Cowboys. Lions, 3-point favorites at the Buccaneers. This is the toughest test so far for Tampa Bay. They've looked pretty good so far, but they also have wins over the Vikings, Bears, and Saints.
Oh, well, that's
so they just say there's 2 of those teams that are really bad.
Yeah.
By the way, the Bears, if you want to move on from Justin Fields, there's a good chance you have 2 first-round picks, 2 top 3 picks, because Carolina looks terrible, and you have their pick because you got in the trade that you traded away this. So if you want to make a trade of Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., if you get those 2 guys, and you just put together that you just move on and you just start that way, just saying it's a possibility.
That's an interesting scenario.
That's if you tank again and it doesn't work, and you just go down and you get number 1 and number 2. And everybody thought that was going to be Arizona, but Arizona, apparently Josh Dobbs is a better quarterback than Justin Fields. I think there's some coaching in that too. But it's just an interesting thing because they have that Carolina pick, and Carolina's the only team without a win so far this year.
I know a couple Bears fans, and I'm talking diehard Bears fans, and they would not be upset with that scenario you just presented.
You get 1 and 2. Why would you not? You can't trade back out of that and go, let's keep Justin Fields for another year and then pay him a bunch of money.
Are you going to try and salvage this season?
And let's get a new coaching staff in here that'll use him better. I think at that point you say we can get the best quarterback and the best wide receiver. And those are it's a quarterback that's people feel is the next level, would have been the top pick in the last 2 drafts.
Yeah.
And a wide receiver that would have been one of the top picks in the last 2 drafts too.
But does Caleb Williams say, I don't want to play for the Bears? I'll go
Very
back and get my NIL
That's possible.
money.
That may
Yeah.
also be BS. But so those things where you keep seeing that and you're like, I don't know how trustworthy I'm here. I'm believing all this stuff that he's
Right.
really saying that all these guys are saying, I am making so much money. I'll come back. Also, once he loses, I think once you lose a little bit more, you're like, yeah, go to the NFL.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Lincoln, I can't play defense.
Right.
Maybe get one.
Maybe.
We got to take a break. When we come back, we will get into the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to let Scott Stapp write a song about the Cowboys.
Okay.
If you have not watched that halftime show, this whole Rangers thing started from. And Cirque du Soleil flying scarf guys. That's what the Cowboys are going to need.
I did watch that during the last break.
You got it?
Yeah.
You watched it?
It's a little over the top.
A little?
Yeah, it's Jerry World. It's over the top anyway.
Yeah,
but-
it's over the top. I don't think that was in Jerry World.
No, that wasn't. That was
pre-Jerry World. Yes, that was
World.
pre-Jerry World. We're going to come back. We're going to talk Cowboys. Keep your texts coming. Text line's open, 512-447-3776. We'll get to those before we go out and just enjoy some more Marlins soaring. Back on the Sports Complex here on The Horn. It's a 512 Friday, playing local bands you can check out around town all during the show on Friday. And this is one of the best young bands in town, the Peterson Brothers. Always very good. They're playing Saturday night at the Continental Club. Great. Two brothers, amazing, talented, great. It's always fun to go see. So check out the Peterson Brothers Saturday night at Continental Club. You don't got a game to watch. Texas is off. We're asking you on the big fat poll of the day. What do you do on your bye week?
You go check out local music.
You go check out some local music. That's the thing. Maybe go out and get some culture in your life.
There you go.
Get some culture. I'm trying to cleanse everybody's palate after Scott's out. I may play him again. Who knows? There's still like 30 seconds left in that song.
Oh my.
I don't know what's coming next, and every time I put it on, it's just other baseball terms. And I enjoy it every time because I feel like he's going to come back and be like, free agent moves.
It blew me away that he's just giving a play-by-play. I thought it was
he's just saying baseball things.
I thought it was going to be a song, subtle references to baseball. No, he's going right into it. Double play.
But I'm telling you, Rangers fans, he's a Marlins fan, man. You have a Marlins fans infiltrating your organization by dumb people going and playing Creed and singing along.
Thanks a lot, Internet.
Terrible band.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Come on. You're better. You're better than that, Rangers fans. I mean, maybe you're not, but I think you're better than that.
I mean, not that much better, but
speaking of not that much better, Cowboys play the Chargers.
Yeah, they do.
On Monday Night Football. It is going to be the reunion of seeing Kellen Moore for the first time since they mutually parted ways.
Oh, is that what it was?
They mutually parted ways. They said this is for the best because Mike McCarthy was going to take over play calling duties because Kellen Moore did the same thing, but slightly better than Mike McCarthy. Because, I mean, have you seen much of a difference?
Not entirely. I mean, they do commit to the run a little bit more, but it's not a huge, massive difference.
Yeah, it's not the thing. It doesn't seem like a massive difference in game plan or, I mean, you're using CeeDee Lamb less.
Yeah, true.
That's something bad about it.
The red zone issues are alarming as well. They do have a terrible percentage in the red zone.
Yeah. But that's there. It just doesn't seem that much. So Kellen Moore, will go see him with the Chargers. He's going to be driven to show what he can do and get this offense rolling the way he wants to get it rolling. I think that the Chargers are at a point where they need to go. And really, the only reason that this is not a thing where you go, oh yeah, the Chargers can beat the Cowboys. They're kind of down right now, and if this is a Chargers game, is because the Chargers also have a terrible head coach and a worse coach than Mike McCarthy.
I would agree.
Brandon Staley is definitely much worse than Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is not a terrible coach. He's a terrible coach if you want to win a Super Bowl. Like, he's just like he can get you to this point, and then you're like, okay, well, now we need someone else because you're clearly not getting us over the hump.
I would argue we're just in the wrong era for Mike.
That too, but that's part of it. You have to evolve. Brandon Staley just never evolved. I mean, he's just still going to do whatever I want. So Brandon Staley is, you believe that he's going to sit out there and Kellen Moore will tell him, I know everything they're about to do, and I can tell you exactly what plays they will run and when they will run them and how and I can tell you what the play call, and I can tell you all that. And Brandon
I can tell you what throws Dak can't make.
Yeah, and I can tell you what I can tell you what Dak's doing. I know him inside and out. We can do this. And then and Brandon Staley will be like, let's just run our defense.
There you go.
You know what? I think if we just stick our guys out there, we'll win. It's like, come on, man.
Thanks, Kellen. Go conduct the offense.
Like Brandon Staley. So, I don't know. If the Cowboys are 2-point favorites going into L.A., it's going to be a lot of Cowboys fans there, I'm assuming. That is one of those buildings at SoFi that the Chargers have never really gotten to be a home field advantage.
I know, isn't that weird?
It's not because they moved from San Diego to a team that already had another team and it's not there. It's like the Clippers, where until you're really good, you're not going to have a home court advantage. The Clippers never did at that's why they're building their own building. So they can say we have our team. They're in the Rams' home.
Yeah,
the Rams won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. That's a Rams town.
Yeah. And
they're trying to go in, and it's a Raiders town. Because that's cooler uniforms than the Chargers.
Right.
So, yeah, they can't. But Dallas has fans out there. Dallas fans will travel out there. So it won't be a full home field advantage for the Chargers either. But it's going to be difficult for the Cowboys just because if Brandon Staley listens to Kellen Moore, then I think they will be able to have a pretty good game plan against this Cowboys offense. And if you know all of Dak's flaws and you know how to say, this is all the stuff Dak does, and I can tell you how he looks off players, and I can tell you how It's like we can know, and I can tell you by his step back where he's going. Kellen knows all that. And so if they attack those types of things, this could be another difficult game for Dak and one that does not make him look good at all.
We'll see. Because
I'm not saying it will 100% be, because Brandon Staley may be an idiot.
That part is very much true.
And I mean, they maybe come out and go, okay, we have to do everything new that Kellen Moore has never seen. I don't think they would. But, But this is going to be a big one of, we've got everybody coming out and saying that Dak is the worst quarterback who's probably – I mean, there's newborn babies that would be a better quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys than Dak Prescott. What we're hearing.
Man.
Do you – as a Cowboys fan, because I'm not a Cowboys fan, it's frustrating just covering the Cowboys because they don't seem to want to make moves. And I'm not the biggest get rid of Dak. I don't think Dak is ever going to be he's not a elite quarterback that's going to lead you to a Super Bowl. But you can win a Super Bowl if you're a defensive first team, you run the ball, and you use him in the right scenarios. Then I think Dak's perfectly capable of being a low turnover quarterback that you're able to win with. But if you are trying to make him make plays, his turnovers are going to go up, which is going to really render his abilities down.
Yeah, and what did our good friend Jerry tell us about him?
When something tells you what it is, don't try to dream that it's something else.
Exactly. Don't try to dream that it's something else. And Dak has been telling us what he is for quite a while now. His only decent season, 2016, the season he was drafted. What's the key variable there from the rest of them? Tony Romo's still on the sidelines. Tony Romo can still talk to him up until 15 seconds left on the play clock. They were 13-3 that season. They lost to the Packers in the playoffs, sure. But Dak's turnover-worthy play rate was 2.4% that year based on Pro Football Focus's numbers. He had 5 picks. His average time to throw was 2.86 seconds. Now, the average amount of time in an NFL pocket is 4.29 seconds. So he's not getting rushed. He's getting the ball out, and it's decisive. That's great. Now move on to 2017 and beyond without Tony Romo. In 2017, they were 9-7 in the regular season, missed the playoffs. Immediate regression. Turnover-worthy plays, 2.8%. Again, his picks were 13. He doubled his picks and then some. Average time to throw, 2.8 seconds. Still the same there. That means he's confidently throwing the football into trouble. Is that because Tony Romo's not telling him what the coverage is pre-snap? I don't know. Let's jump forward a little bit. 2019, Kellen Moore named the offensive coordinator, right? They're going to have this big, high-octane, explosive offense. Dak had some of his best offensive numbers. They were 8-8 that season. Missed the playoffs. Turnover-worthy plays for Dak, 3.2%. We're still going up in that category. His picks, you guessed it, 11. Double digits again. Time to throw, 2.8 seconds. Still very confidently throwing into trouble. So Dak is telling you what he is, and he has been doing it for a long time. And unfortunately, there's not a way out of it. Dak is going to cost the Cowboys $60 million if they try to move on from him because his contract is set to end next year. I don't know what Cowboy fans do from here, but if you're Jerry, you have to start preparing for the future, and I don't think Trey Lance is that future.
I think Trey Lance is a better option that if you want to have somebody that you can at least try. Because again, if we look at in the reality of how to find a quarterback, when you look at other quarterbacks, we talked about this on the show earlier this week of who else is out there and how many teams actually have a quarterback and how many teams you're saying at worst, Dak Prescott is the 20th quarterback in the league. And he's probably better than that. But if you're saying at worst,
I'll go 15.
Yeah, that's what I say. I'd put him around 15.
Yeah.
But we'll say at worst, he's 20th, which means at the best league in the sport, he's the 20th best quarterback in the best league in football. There's not 30 guys better than him out there that you can go get and the Cowboys can bring in. Now you can try and get other rookies. You can try and get guys and see if you can coach them up. The problem is you don't have a coach who coaches up players. You brought in a coach who doesn't make players better. He tries to coach players that are already there. Now Dan Quinn tries to make players better.
I agree.
But I don't think Mike McCarthy is a make players better coach. He's not a player development coach.
No, and that's part of why they need to be urgent with this because and I know Jerry, if he doesn't do the right thing and give this job to Dan at the end of this season, no matter the outcome, honestly, Dan's gone. He's going to get hired somewhere else. He will be gone. And we have a bunch of contracts coming up. How long can they keep this great team around Dak in place and hope that he just kind of figures it out one day?
Well, no, and I mean, if you see the stuff of like the CeeDee Lamb thing where they said, do you want to get CeeDee Lamb the ball more? And he says, no, I want to get everybody equal targets. If I'm CeeDee Lamb, I'm like, cool, trade me.
Yeah. Well, he's already doing that on the field.
Yeah, if we're doing bad, you're not giving me the ball, and you want to say you're going to throw the ball to Michael Gallup as many times you want to throw it to me,
right?
Then I don't want to be here. Send me to a team that's going to respect me.
Right, and you see his body language on the field reflecting that. He is very displeased.
It's like, I get it. And this is the thing I always tell anybody about wide receivers, because I get their divas and their prima donnas and all that, and all the diva stuff. Play Madden, and just as a wide receiver. And see how long it takes you to get super mad that the quarterback's not throwing you the ball.
Yeah.
Just when you're like, no, I was open. He got sacked again.
Right.
Like, just see how angry you get playing a video game. And then imagine you worked your whole life, and every time that happens, you're like, well, that's $3 million I'm never going to see. And that's on my contract, and that's another cut. That's a payment incentive that I'm going to lose because they're not giving me the ball. And then when they're calling plays and you're like, I'm option 4 on this play.
Speaking of which, he's going to be asking for more money very soon.
He is, but that's why I don't think he wants to throw him the ball.
Right.
Because he wants to hardball with the negotiation, which, again, probably not.
I don't know if Dak's cerebral enough to.
I don't think Dak's doing it. I think Jerry Jones is, because if we know one thing about Mike McCarthy is a company man, and Mike McCarthy is doing everything Jerry did. Like, Kellen Moore didn't use KaVontae Turpin.
Right.
Jerry Jones signed him to a 4-year deal. Now, not for a lot of money, but he signed him to a 4-year deal. He wanted KaVontae Turpin to be a part of this offense and be somebody who was electric. And Kellen Moore didn't want to use him.
Yeah.
He said, I don't trust him in these systems. He doesn't do whatever, for whatever reason. And Mike McCarthy is using him, and he's working in certain situations. The problem is you also drafted Deuce Vaughn, and that's the same kind of player. And Deuce Vaughn can't do anything else yet because he's young. It's going to take him a little while to get used to how to play.
Cheap.
He is, but the problem with Deuce Vaughn is you have to keep him on your active roster, because if you cut him, someone else will pick him up to use him as an auxiliary player.
Yeah.
So you can't cut him and put him on your practice squad because someone else will pick him up. So he's a roster spot that you can't play. Like Trey Lance is a roster spot you can't play. And when you're on a team that needs some help and it needs more depth, and you are now have a running back and a quarterback that are just taking up roster spots on your roster, you can't cut either one or they'll get picked up. It's just another part of the formula that leads you to this team is not better than they were last year.
No.
They're a step back from where they were last year.
Yeah.
And you were hoping that everything would go, okay, Mike McCarthy's going to change things in a positive way, and nothing really changed. He's just placating a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up last year, because I want to give you the same numbers I was tracking for last season, which, by the way, we just agreed we've taken a regression from, right? 12-5 regular season, lost to the Niners in the playoffs. Everybody knows that. No one's questioning whether or not Dak can get you 12 wins in the regular season.
Yeah.
What we are questioning is turnover-worthy play rate, 3.8%, still climbing. INTs, 17. Co-led the league with Josh Allen. Average time to throw, 2.7. Still very confident about it.
I mean, if you want to have this big O-line that's finally back, I get Dak gets the ball out quick because they run a lot of quick game.
Yeah.
But if you're saying he's throwing picks in the quick game.
Right, because defenses know he's going to fire it on his first
read. And they know
read.
he's watching one player. And
right.
Like, I was having this conversation about he's looking down at his receiver. And you go, a lot of times they're not even looking down the receiver. They're looking at whoever. They're looking at the linebacker or
they're looking
safety,
at the read.
And they're looking at the read.
Yes.
And that's all they're doing. And so that guy knows.
Let me slide over here.
Let me just take 2 steps. And if these wide receivers don't get far enough apart,
yeah,
I can still go back and make a play. And everybody else who he's not even looking at is realizing, oh, he's looking at that guy.
Well, and they know in the huddle now. They know in the huddle now. The play gets called, and the receivers that aren't the play, they go,
yeah.
Oh, okay, here we go.
So it's just there's a lot of not buy-in right now, especially in the receiver core, because you see it. And then the red zone. When you go back and watch red zone possession for the Cowboys,
it's
the
brutal.
amount of times that Dak turns and looks right and the left side of the play doesn't do anything,
yes,
is mind-boggling for the type of players that are there. That you're like, man, Brandon Cooks was doing that for the Texans. He was still doing stuff.
Right.
And they sucked.
They had nobody.
And he was still filling the play out. So, I mean, how pissed does he have to be to not trust him? What's the communication and where is it at? Because that's where I think the problem is. The problem I have for the Cowboys is I haven't found it. I'm the practical. If we're trying to win a Super Bowl and we're actually trying to go for it, Mike McCarthy clearly is not going to get us there. He is clearly a worse coach. We are clearly a worse time than we were last year. He's not the answer.
No.
So we have to have somebody else. I don't know who's out there that you're able to pick up that's going to be this great offensive mind that's going to be able to get you that next step. That's the problem is I don't know if you fire Mike McCarthy, there's a better solution out there.
You just need someone that can reach Dak a little bit better, because I think that's part of the issue there is And I
Make
think the
people excited to play football again.
Right, and I think the relationship with Kellen, I think Kellen's brilliant offensively. I just think he couldn't reach Dak because they knew each other too well. There was no work relationship. You know what I mean?
All right. I think we've worked ourselves up enough about the Cowboys.
And with that said, I'm picking the Cowboys -2. The Cowboys are going to stomp the Chargers, by the way, on Monday night.
I know. I'm picking the Cowboys too. I'm picking the Cowboys too. I kind of want the Chargers to win just to watch it all go down the hill. But like the morbid part of my brain just says like, you know what? Let's just see. I want to see how far Jerry Jones can go down this path of saying things like,
when something tells you what it is, don't try to dream that it's something else.
We know what he is, Jerry. We
And
know what he is.
if you drop one more game before the Eagles game,
yeah, 'cause-
and then you're probably going to lose the Eagles game.
yeah,
But that's post trade deadline, by the way. So that's post any other moves you can really make, player personnel wise.
I know.
So if you get there and now you're like, okay, crap, we may not make the playoffs. What do you do with that? Like, do you just suck it up and just take it on the L that we screwed it up and go out there and fight because we want to get the dollars in?
No, they're going to do what the Cowboys do. They're going to make the playoffs. And that's
just squeeze in the
they're
back
going to
end.
make the playoffs.
I'm picking him this week. I'll pick him.
The book is out on Dak.
Also, we know we're bad at picking, so not good for the Cowboys.
Yeah, last week was not hot for us.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. And if we have any more time, I'll finish out this Scott Stapp song for you. If we have any more time. I don't know if we'll have time. I don't know if we'll have time.
We'll queue up the next one.
We'll wait till Tuesday. We'll play more for you there when the Astros are already up 2-0 in that series.
There you go.
There we go. All right, we'll be back here at the Sports Complex on the Horn 1019 AM 1260, the Horn app, and hornfm.com. Wrapping things up here on the Sports Complex. Another fun show. Appreciate everybody joining us on the text line. You guys keep the show very much fun for us. So I definitely appreciate everybody joining us there. We're going to have a good show again on Tuesday when we come back. Monday, it'll be the Rangers playing right here on 3 o'clock pregame on Monday. It'll be playing all there. Stay tuned on hornfm.com. Stay tuned on our social medias. And if I'll be out somewhere, if you want to come hang out, I'll do the show for you live. We'll just hang out and talk like we're doing the show. So they'll be watching the game too. Big thanks to Jacob Standard for coming in again and doing the show with me every Friday and making picks that are probably wrong.
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me back every week because the show's definitely not better for it.
We'll be back on Tuesday. Until then, be safe, be kind, keep your underwear clean. And we'll be right back with more Sports Complex on Tuesday, 5 p.m. right here on Sports Complex on the Horn.